Outlaw Law is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law. Your law firm for life.
Welcome back into the Outlaw Lawyers. Your hosts are Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, managing partners, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. Offices conveniently located in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and as you can hear, Morehead City. Cassandra Nicholas is joining us. She is in Morehead City's office, and we look forward to having her comments on this latest. And it is Andy Warhol Foundation versus the Visual Arts. That's versus Goldsmith, I should say. And Josh, I said this going into the segment. What's your favorite Prince song?
I think before we get there, Morgan, I think before you get to your favorite Prince song, if you're a child of the 80s, and I think some of our folks here with us today probably can't make that claim that they're not children of the 80s, but if you grew up in the 80s, you were either Michael Jackson or Prince, right? You weren't both. You had to take a side.
What if you were neither? You couldn't be both? Really?
Yeah, why not?
I don't think you could. When I was growing up, you had to pick. You had to pick a side.
Like your dad sat you down. He's like, son, son, you can go this way or you can go this way.
I was a Michael Jackson kid through and through. So I didn't dislike Prince. I didn't, it's not like State UNC where you have to dislike the other side, but you had to have your favorite. And so if I had to, you're going to have to come back to me on favorite Prince. Like Michael Jackson, I can give you a ton of songs.
Well, I'm the longest in tooth here on the show. I'm the oldest. So Purple Rain was out when we were at Carolina. So, yeah, he was huge. Little Red Corvette. That would probably be the one I would go with.
When Doves Cry.
Oh, Doves Cry. That's a good one.
Is that yours, Cassandra? Is that what you're going with?
No, I would go the stereotype of Purple Rain too. As I don't fail to mention in most episodes, I'm from North Dakota, but the North Dakota-Minnesota border. So every person you meet around there, Prince is like, I don't know if there's anyone around here that compares, or everyone has a story about they know someone who knows him that hung out with him in the music scene in Minneapolis. I think they're all liars, but everyone claims they know someone who knew Prince. But right after he passed, I flew back to Minneapolis and then drove to North Dakota and swung by Paisley Park and saw all the memorials. It was really cool.
Well, real quickly, there is a Duke connection to Prince. And I don't know if you guys know this story, but Carlos Boozer, who played basketball at Duke and went on and played in the NBA, had a long career. I believe he was with the Lakers. And
played with the Jazz too, didn't he?
Yeah, he's played a number of teams. Yeah. But he had a house that was sitting dormant in the Beverly Hills area. And his agent contacted him and said that someone wanted to rent the house. And he's like, absolutely not going to happen. He says, well, hang on a second. They want to pay you $95,000 a month. He said, okay. And so they went into this agreement, and it was Prince. And Prince, in the contract, said that if he made any changes to the house, he would return the house to its original before he moved out. And apparently Boozer was in town, swung by just to kind of check things out, and the entire gate area, all the stuff that he had put up there was changed. He made it like Princed out. The gym was now a disco, a nightclub, purple, a lot of purple, absolutely blown away at all the changes, and they were all for Prince. And then sure enough, he moved out and everything was changed back. He also, when Boozer said something to Prince's agent, they wired him $500,000 basically to calm down.
Just to be like, hey, chill out.
Yeah, to calm down, and we will make the changes back. And he could not tell that Prince was there when he did move out.
Oh, that's crazy.
I wish I could find a Prince to rent my house for $95,000 a month.
Anyway, great story.
You got a favorite Prince song?
I'm like you, man. Prince musically, I respect him as a musician, right? But I'm kind of like you.
Back in the day, we had these things called tapes. And if you didn't want to commit to a whole tape, right? Maybe somebody released a single and you didn't want to commit to the whole tape, you could buy a maxi single, right? You get like 3 songs instead of the whole, save a little bit of money. I had a maxi single for, I think the song was called 7. That's when I was coming through high school, was like the later Prince. But that would have to be my favorite Prince song. And then I think I've got the greatest hits when everybody started doing the greatest hits on CDs. So I have that one. But anyway, I think we can all agree that Prince was very good.
Prince to me, the relevance of Prince to me more so is when Chappelle Show came out and they had the all-time classic sketch with Prince and the Revolution playing basketball.
That was one of Charlie Murphy's, what did they call those?
Charlie Murphy's True Hollywood Stories.
Yeah.
Late Charlie Murphy.
The late Charlie Murphy.
Yep. It's a tragedy, man.
All right. Well, so here, the Prince comes into play here. Andy Warhol Foundation for the Visual Arts versus Goldsmith was argued in front of the U.S. Supreme Court last week, and it is a trademark issue. And again, I guess at some point, and again, I'm a bad guy for art. You know, it doesn't speak to me, right? Like you tell me something's a great piece of art, I take your word for it.
Art to you is just different. It's not like the fine arts. You don't connect with that, but your art is, you do appreciate art, just a different kind of art.
Just a different flavor of art, I guess. But so there was a famous picture of Prince taken, I think they said it was taken in 1981 by Lynn Goldsmith. She was the photographer, and she took this famous photo of Prince, which doesn't really translate on radio and podcast. But Andy Warhol took this picture, and he's kind of done this a couple of times, right? Andy Warhol he reproduced it. I think he used 4 images of the photograph to make his art. Maybe changed. I think he changed the facial expression of Prince a little bit.
Loud, unnatural colors is what the article says. He added to it.
He splattered some paint on there. Whammo! He's got this multi-million-dollar piece of art, and this lawsuit is basically not even Prince. This is Lynn Goldsmith, the photographer, saying, "Hey, you just used my photo and you didn't really change it that much, and I'm entitled to some royalties, some money. You can't just do that." And so that's what was being argued. Is that what you took from it, Cassandra?
Yeah, I just don't really understand why this is coming up now.
Well, I thought that too. And the couple of articles, I read some of the oral arguments in a couple of articles, but I couldn't figure out why it was coming up just now either.
And I guess the foundation would still be making money off of it now, so it's still a current violation if it's ongoing, as long as they're still making money from it. So there's no statute of limitations issues.
Yeah, I guess not. Oral arguments did not get to that. What this reminded me is back in the day when wasn't it Biz Markie who came out? Biz Markie did his album. And that's when all the sample stuff happened, right? So if you're creating a new rap song, a new hip hop song, or I guess any song where you would use samples from other people's music, and the samples were, I can't remember how many seconds, but if there was like a ruling that, hey, you owe money if you use a sample of someone else's song in your song, and it's, I don't know, last more than a certain amount of time or something like that. So that's what this reminded me of. When you take someone else's work to try to create something new, how much do you have to change it? And I think that's the questions that were going on between the Supreme Court justices.
Yeah, I like that comparison better than the one that the justices were using in oral arguments, comparing turning books into movies.
Yeah, they did say that, yeah.
Because that's a much more substantial work.
Yeah.
Versus a couple seconds of a song or a single image.
You may not remember this, but Biz Markie, so I can't remember the name of the album he released where he basically got sued. And I don't remember who sued him. I probably should have looked at this before we got on air. But his next album was called, you know what it's called? The album after the one he got sued on?
No.
It was called...
No, I don't.
Are you sure?
No, I like Biz Markie, man, but I can't give you his discography.
He's dead too. Biz Markie's dead.
Can you give us a multiple choice?
This is a depressing show.
All Samples Cleared. That was the name of his next. Didn't really have a lot of big hits on that one.
Yeah, but
that's what people say. If you go, what was Paul's Boutique, the Beastie Boys album, where they didn't have to pay for any of those samples, but if they made it today, it would have cost a whole bunch $1 million to produce that. But yeah, that's the discussion going on here. And again, I don't know. The justices didn't seem like they were ready to do anything big or to change things now.
Yeah, but they were really into it. It seems like it'll be a while before we get this decision.
Yeah, I think the justices were, I love cases where the justices just don't divide on conservative liberal lines. Like I like it when they get a topic that's not politically, socially charged, when they get a topic that's just, you really have to just make legal arguments and no one probably has any preconceived notions one way or the other. So this will be interesting just to see how the justices split, because it's going to be a weird split. It's not going to be just conservative and liberal.
This reminded me a lot of the Obama Hope poster lawsuit back in 2009. The Obama Hope poster was everywhere, but it was based on an AP photo from 2006. And AP sued the artist that created the poster, but they settled, so they never got to this fair use issue.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
It's a difficult issue. Anytime you're dealing with something that you could argue is subjective, like determining how transformative something needs to be, that's a difficult standard to establish.
Yeah, there's got to be a line. I can't remember who I heard talking about it, but somebody was talking about how dress codes in offices has declined, right? Like everybody used to wear suits, or what have you. And he was talking about, where do you draw the line? Like you can't go to work naked, right?
What? Is this a Supreme Court ruling?
Hang on a minute. Have I been breaking the law?
So you can't, we all accept the fact you can't go to work naked, and you probably can't go to work in your underwear, right? We all kind of accept that in a professional workplace. That's probably not going to be allowed. And of course, you can always wear a suit, right? Everybody could wear a suit. You can dress up as much as you want to. And so where do you draw the line in what's socially acceptable, what to wear to work? At some point, every office has to draw that line, but it's just, you got to make these rules, and that was the guy's point. But here, at some point, it would be just using someone else's artwork to create your own artwork,
There is a point where you're right. There is a point 100% where we should have an issue with someone doing this. But again, where do you draw the line?
I think the photographer makes a really good argument, because when I read this article, I saw Mr. Warhol's art that he produced. It really, to me, just looks like her photo with a different color scheme.
Your untrained, unsophisticated eye.
That's right.
I'm the same. I look at art, man, and I feel bad. Like I look at it, and I think of people getting this deep, deep meaning from it. And I just feel dumb because it's not happening for me personally.
Yeah.
And so maybe we're just dumb apes, man.
Well, I don't know what to tell you about that, but anyway, I think this is clearly this. I think this lady. I think the photographer is entitled to some money. I think he's, it's like if Biz Markie made half of his song was an old Earth, Wind and Fire song, and he, I just think it's anyway. What do I know? Because I'm not a Supreme Court justice.
I tell you what, is a lot about Biz Marquie's CD releases.
Look, man,
who knew?
That was a very legally interesting topic when I was coming of age.
Yeah, man, there's very few legal radio shows where they're going to bring Biz Markie into the fold. So I'm going to give you credit for that.
Yeah, we talked about Biz Markie. We talked about Michael Jackson. We talked about Prince. Real quick, we're coming up against a break, but real quick, everybody's favorite Michael Jackson song. You should have it on the tip of your tongue.
Billie Jean.
Yeah. That's a good song.
What's yours?
Man in the Mirror. 100 times a day, Man in the Mirror. You can listen to it all the time.
It's a little soft for me, Josh.
Cassandra, favorite Michael Jackson song. Can't say Thriller.
Smooth Criminal.
Smooth Criminal.
You can't say Thriller? Yeah. Why can't you say Thriller?
You can't say Thriller.
I bet you I could say Thriller right now. You can't. What are you going to do, Josh? We're in the same room together today. Nah. I don't know, man. I don't have a favorite anything.
Killing me, man.
I just like a lot of this is serious, man. People ask what's your favorite movie? It's Thriller.
Okay.
All right. In your face.
All right, there you go. The Outlaw Lawyers, Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, where you can find them. They're the managing partners there. Practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Offices conveniently located: Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and now in Morehead City, where our third host is Cassandra Nicholas, joining us remotely today. If you've got a legal situation you're facing, you've got questions, you can always call the firm 800-659-1186. That's 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what the call is about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. And you can always email your questions to the show, questions@theoutlawlawyer.com. We've got more right after this.